Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services, all by calling one number. And that phone number is 855-464-6872. Also a reminder that we have a referral program. So if you go to the bottom of your GoGo receipts, there is a code. If you give that code to a friend, once they've taken their first service with GoGo, you will both receive $10 in credit. We also have a Facebook group. So if you ever feel like you want to see how other people are using GoGo or just connect with other GoGo members online, you can find our Facebook group and we'll share a link of that in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna look at the checks. I see that a few more things got popped in. Oh, and we've got Rhonda from East Meadow, Long Island. We have a couple of Rhondas. Great. Oops. Oh boy, how do I undo that? There we go. If we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo. What do we need today? So all you need is your body and a chair. I like a chair that's sturdy, not gonna fall over. I prefer something without wheels, but if all you have is a wheelie chair, that's fine. Like an office chair, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I also like something without armrests because I feel like I can move a little more easily. But again, if all you have is a chair with armrests, that's fine. Grab what you can. This class is mostly seated, so if standing's not for you, that's totally fine. We will stand for a few minutes in class, but you can skip that part. And then if you're looking for something a little bit more active, our functional fitness class is primarily standing and a little bit more challenging. Okay, so every week, for those of you who are new, we have a move of the week. I give you something to think about or to do. Who remembers the yoga move of the week? And you can just shout it out, unmute yourself and let me know.
Putting your arms behind your back.
That's right. Thank you, Bertha. Putting your arms behind your back.
And the only time I could do that, though, that I think of is putting something on like a coat or a sweater.
That's exactly right. Yeah, when you're putting on a coat or a sweater, you have to have that mobility to put your arms back. The other time we sometimes do that is when you shut a door of a car door. I sometimes see people do that kind of push back. So that's another time we do that. But that's cool, Bertha, that you sort of thought about, oh, when do I actually do this in my daily life? And that's exactly right. When we put on clothing or jackets, we have to reach those arms back usually. Awesome. Glad I can count on you for remembering, and it's great to have you. I think we missed you on Friday. So glad you're back. And that's it. That's all the talking that's going to happen for now. We'll have time to chat at the end of class. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can see me. All right, so my screen should pop up nice and big for you. If for some reason it hasn't, you just have to adjust your settings. So what you'll do is you'll move your cursor to the top right-hand corner of your Zoom screen, and something will pop up, a little box will pop up that says View. You can change it to say Speaker View, so that'll be me. Or if you want to see everybody moving with you at the same time, then you can move it to Gallery View. All right, let's go ahead and find your seat. Just rock a little side to side, feeling your sits bones landing on that chair. So pressing down onto one sit bone and then the other. And then start to take some circles with the torso. So just a reminder that this is your time and your practice. So you are totally welcome to take breaks, modify, adjust so that this feels good and safe for your body. Go ahead and circle the other direction. Everything that I offer is just a suggestion. And if you come up with some questions, you can always put them in the chat to have us look at the end of class, or at the end of class, we will have some time to talk, so you can hold on to those questions until then. So if you find yourself being muted in the middle of class, it's just because we want to be able to allow everyone to hear me without interference. Let's go ahead and come back to center and take some shoulder rolls forward. And shoulder rolls back. And then allow the shoulders to relax and go ahead and close the eyes or soften your gaze towards the ground. We'll just take a few moments to settle in, finding some stillness, feeling the spine long. Allow the shoulders to be soft and buoyant, like they're floating on your rib cage. So they're not tensed up, they're not pulled down, they're just floating there, soft. Feel where your sits bones land on your chair, so feeling those bones in your bum and where they meet the chair. And then feeling where the feet are on the ground. Allowing the jaw to be relaxed. And take a few moments to check in mentally. So just noticing what thoughts are showing up. Are you thinking about the past or the future? Making commentary? Just noticing what kind of thoughts are you having? And then checking in emotionally. Noticing what feelings are present. And so we're not trying to push anything away or to amplify anything. We're just noticing, having that awareness. What emotions are present? What feelings are present? And then tuning into your physical body. How does your physical body feel? And this could be the sense of the muscles and the joints. Could be the sense of whatever's going on in your gut, your digestion. Could be feeling the movement of the breath. Just noticing what's going on with your physical body. What do you feel, and maybe what do you not feel? And allowing whatever's there to be there. And then we'll tune into the breathing and start to deepen your breath. So finding slightly longer inhales and longer exhales. As you inhale, maybe you're feeling a sense of length in the spine. And as you exhale, maybe a sense of ease and softness throughout the body. So as we move through our practice, always coming back to the breath, finding that smooth, steady breath. And then taking one hand on top of the other against your chest, against your heart. Maybe feeling that physical movement of the breath beneath your palms. And take a moment, if you'd like, to set an intention for your practice. Maybe just noting what's brought you here to class. Maybe you'd like to cultivate something like flexibility or calm. Now go ahead and set that for yourself now. Take a deep inhale through the nose, fill the lungs. And exhale, let it go. Blink open the eyes, release the arms, and we'll start moving. We'll inhale, pull the chest forward, doing kind of a back bend. And then exhale, curve the spine and round the back. I'll give you a side view as well. You don't need to move. I'm just moving so you can see. Inhale, chest comes forward. So we're creating a back bend, stretch at the front of the body. And then exhale, curve the spine, round the back, stretch the back body. Feel free to continue just like this. Or if you'd like, you can add your arms. So as your chest comes forward, you can reach those arms out to the side and back to stretch the chest. And then as you curve your spine, you can give yourself a hug, wrapping your arms around yourself. So we inhale, open the chest. Maybe you add the arms, maybe not. Then exhale, round the back. Keep going. Follow your breath. Make your way back to center, releasing your arms by your side, and we'll go into some side bending. So reaching down, one hand reaches towards the earth, then back up, and then side bend the other way. So you can imagine, keep going at your own pace, you can imagine that you're in a very narrow hallway, and you have a wall in front of your chest and behind your back. And you don't want to touch the walls of the hallway. So you want to try and do a clear side bend instead of twisting while you're side bending or curving the spine. You're just going side to side. Few more times. And then make your way back to center. Let's go ahead and bring the fingertips to the shoulders so the elbows are pointing out to the side. If that's uncomfortable for the shoulders, hands can stay down on your lap. Imagine you're squeezing something between your knees. So we don't want those legs moving around here. So we're squeezing an imaginary block between the knees as we twist the upper body. We'll inhale, twist one direction, and then exhale, twist the other way. Keep going here, following your breath. Maybe one more time each side. And coming back to center, releasing those arms. Let's get into our neck now. So we'll start with some head rotation. So keeping your spine still, or the rest of the spine except for the neck, we're going to turn the head looking to one side and then turn the head to look the other way. So it's like your chest stays facing forward and we're moving just the head. So being honest with yourself, only going through a range that feels good, but moving through your true range for the neck versus sometimes we move the rest of the body to make it feel like we're moving our neck more. So trying to keep the rest of the body still and just move the head. And then nodding the head, yes. So looking up towards the ceiling and down towards the ground, moving in a range that feels good and safe to the neck. So it doesn't need to be big. It can be though, if that feels good. And then let's bring one ear to your shoulder, side stretch up the neck. And again, watching if the rest of the body is going with you. Keep the rest of the spine still and just moving that head and neck. Come to center, side stretch the other way. And this might be really small and that's okay. One more time each side, ear towards the shoulder. And the shoulders stay relaxed, so the shoulders aren't coming up to meet the ear. And other way. And back to center. Let's go ahead and move our attention to our hands, going into some wrist circles. Nice smooth breath here, so no specific breathing pattern, just nice smooth breath as you circle your wrists. And circle them the other way. And then we'll interlace those fingers. And we'll go into a, sort of a roller coaster motion. So we'll roller coaster those arms. So we're trying to find this fluid motion. It's quite complicated to explain without you visually seeing it, but you can imagine that your hands and your arms are part of a roller coaster. And so you're moving up the roller coaster and then back down in these wave-like motions, or you're creating waves. And then try and go the other direction. So that tends to be really tricky, especially the first few times. We have a tendency to have one way we want to go. And if that's hard, maybe you do a few in the way that's easier to try and get a sense of what your body has to do, and then go back to the hard direction. Just a few more. All right, and let's let that go, shake it off. Moving our attention to the feet, toes stay down. We'll go into some heel raises. So lifting one heel and then the other. I'll just give a quick side view here. So the toes stay down, but we're lifting a heel, bringing it down, lifting the other heel. I'll take my socks off so you can see a little better. But we're alternating heel raises. So we're feeling those calf muscles working. Ankles are working. Really trying to articulate through the foot. Keep going, a few more. I'm going to turn sideways. Again, you don't need to move. And then taking a little break, let's straighten out that left leg out in front of us. So the right knee stays bent, foot stays where it is. Left leg straightens out. From here, you're going to point and flex the foot. So moving through the ankle, it's sort of a similar motion, or it's the same motion in a lot of ways of those heel raises, but now pointing and flexing with the leg extended. Spine is long, the shoulders are relaxed. Next time your foot is in that dorsiflexed position, so that's when the toes are facing up towards the ceiling, you'll pause there. Now we're going to try and lift the entire leg, keeping the rest of the body still. So it's not a spine exercise, it's really a leg exercise. So we're going to try and keep the torso still. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, try and lift the leg up. Maybe bring that leg parallel to the earth. And then inhale back down. Exhale, leg lifts. Inhale, bring it down. Keep going at your own pace. It doesn't need to lift as high as mine, right? You do what you can. You're trying to keep the legs straight. So maybe that means you're only lifting an inch and then coming back down. No problem. Maybe your knee has a soft bend in it if your knees are feeling irritated by being completely straight. All right, and then next time the foot is down on the ground, leave it there. Shake it off a little bit, let that leg shake. And then we're gonna keep that leg extended and move into a hamstring stretch before we switch to the other side. So we'll inhale, lean a little bit forward, and then exhale, lean away from the leg. We'll do that a few times just to feel the stretch and ease your way in. So as you lean forward, you'll feel a little more stretch along the back of the leg. And as you lean back, you'll feel a little less. As you're ready, we'll hold the stretch. So you can hold the stretch sitting tall if you get enough stretch, or you can lean forward using your hands for support. You're also welcome to bring a forearm to your right thigh and reach your left hand down the leg, anywhere that feels good. So we're feeling that stretch along the back of the leg. Keeping the jaw nice and relaxed. And come on up. Rebend the knee, windshield wiper those knees side to side. Pause for a moment and just notice the difference right to left. Maybe one leg feels more grounded or more buoyant or softer, stronger. Just notice whatever you're feeling. And we'll go to the other side. So other leg goes long. So right leg goes long, left knee stays bent. And we'll start by moving through the ankle. So we're pointing and flexing the foot. So the toes reach towards the ceiling and the toes reach down to the ground. All right, pausing next time your toes are up towards the ceiling. We'll do those leg lifts, trying to keep the torso still. So the torso's not involved. We're really trying to move just the leg in the hip socket. As you exhale, we lift the leg up to whatever height you'd like. And then inhale, bring it down. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. Keep going. It's up to you how high you go. Totally fine to only lift an inch. Jaw is relaxed, shoulders are soft, so try not to create tension in other parts of the body. Doing a few more. And then letting the foot stay down. Moving into our stretch now, we'll inhale, lean forward a little bit. Feel the stretch intensify along the back of the leg. And then exhale, sit tall, back away from the stretch. Inhale as you lean in. Exhale as you lean away. Few more. And then we'll go ahead and hold the stretch. So you can hold the stretch sitting tall. You can hold the stretch leaning forward using your arms for support. You're also welcome to bring your forearm to your thigh. So whatever position works for you, holding the stretch. Few deep breaths. Go ahead and lift yourself back up, rebend that right knee, and windshield wiper those knees side to side, shake it off. All right, let's come back to that spinal motion we did earlier just for a few breaths. You'll inhale, open up the arms, chest lifts, and exhale, curve the spine and give yourself a hug. Just a few more. Just resetting. And then bringing yourself back to center, letting those arms relax. And we'll move to our standing portion of class. If standing is not for you, please stay seated. We'll come back to seated in 3 minutes or so. So you can do some stretches and some movements while you're seated, or you could even just sit still and meditate there. But if you're okay with it, we're gonna come to stand. And if you are standing, I'd like you to have something to hold on to. So you can go behind your chair if that's accessible. If it is not accessible to get behind your chair, please find a wall or a table or a counter, something to hold on to. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me better, but you can keep facing your screen. So we'll start with our nice tall mountain pose. So planting those feet on the ground, feet are 4 to 6 inches apart. Toes are pointing forward, so all 10 toes are facing forward. Knees are tracking forward. Let those arms rest at your side to begin. And just feel a nice long spine. Back of the neck is long, jaw is soft. And in the traditional yoga mountain pose, we let our palms flip to face forward. So if you'd like to do that, go ahead and do that. We'll just take 2-3 breaths here. Your eyes can be open or closed. Feeling the weight of the feet, noticing where you like to hold your weight on your feet. And then moving the hands to the chair or table or wall. And then walk back into an upside down L pose, or sometimes we call this chair dog. So you walk the feet back until the feet come underneath the hips and your torso is about parallel to the earth. Arms can be straight or slightly bent if that's better on the body. Legs can be straight or slightly bent. You also might find that it's uncomfortable to have your torso parallel to the earth, in which case you can have your torso somewhat lifted. So find what works for you. Couple of deep breaths. And then walk yourself back up to stand. All right, we're going to move into some balancing work today. So standing tall. For this first one, you might find that you want to not hold on, just for a little extra challenge. Otherwise, please keep holding on. We're going to have both feet on the ground for this first balance exercise. So both feet are on the ground, but go ahead and take those feet together. That will make it a little bit harder. So feet together, both feet on the ground. You can choose to hold on or not. Safety first though, so if you feel like you need to hold on, please do. We're going to move our heads. We're going to turn the head to look to the right and to look to the left. Doesn't matter what side you do first, and then back to center. Then you're going to look up and down and back to center. Great, so that's challenge 1. If that felt really hard, then maybe you stick with that level. If you want a little more challenge, what you're going to do is step 1 foot in front of the other, and you'll probably want to hold on. So you'll step 1 foot to stand in front of the other. So we'll go right foot in front of the left. The feet are pretty close to each other, so toe to heel, there's maybe a centimeter between the feet. If this is already really hard, and you're holding on to make it a little bit more accessible, you can turn your feet out. So that will give you a better base of support. You can also step the foot out to the side so that you're more on parallel lines or railroad tracks instead of that tightrope. So tightrope is the hardest. Feel free to adjust so that it feels safe. You're holding on with 2 or 1 hands, and we're going to turn the head. Again, looking to the right and the left. This is easy. You can do it without holding on. And then looking up and down. Great, and back to center. Let's do the other foot in front. So now left foot steps in front. Again, adjust. So if it feels really wobbly, you can turn those toes out or you can step a foot out. Just make sure that you're creating some challenge. We want it to be hard, but not so hard that it's unsafe. It is okay to fall out of a balance exercise as long as you're not falling to the ground or falling really hard. Again, holding with 1 hand, 2 hands, 1 finger, no hands. We're turning, looking to the right and looking to the left and center and looking up, then looking down and center. All right, stepping those feet back next to each other. One more challenge on each side for balance. We'll take 1 foot in front of you. So the toes are really close to the ground. Again, you're gonna hold on with 1 or 2 hands, so make sure that you can do that. And that can be anything. I'm just gonna face you a little bit easier here. Toes lift off the ground if it feels safe. If it does not feel safe to lift the toes off the ground, please keep them down. And you can guess what's next. We're gonna do those same head motions. So you're gonna turn your head, look to the right and to the left. Totally fine to wobble, totally fine to touch those toes down and then lift them back up. Bring it to center and we'll look up and we'll look down. Then back to center and we'll switch sides. So switching feet, other foot comes in front. Again, toes can stay down the entire time or you can float the toes and bring them down at any point if you're starting to feel those wobbles. You're holding on with 1 hand or 2 hands or none. And you'll look to one side and look to the other side and center, looking up towards the ceiling and down towards the ground and center and bring the foot down, shake it off, let that go, nice job. And we'll go back to that upside down L position before we find seated again. So hands find your chair or table, walk yourself back, finding that nice L position. Coming back up. Let's find our seat. So finding your seated position once again. Let's stretch those hips. So figure 4, lots of options. So option 1, we'll cross the right ankle. I'll mirror you here. We'll cross the right ankle over the left and let that right knee open out to the side. So we're looking for some sensation by that kind of outer hip region. You can stay there. If you want just a little more challenge, you could put your foot up onto something like a block or a stool. Or you can try and bring your ankle over your thigh. So we're gonna go with one of those variations. So different than the usual variations I give, or slightly different, right? So I'm not giving this variation today, although you're of course welcome to do whatever you'd like. So ankle crosses over, let the knee splay. You can prop your foot up onto something, or you can cross your ankle over your thigh. And then noticing that bottom leg. So for more challenge, you want to let that bottom leg, that supporting leg, be vertical. So if your foot is at an angle, it'll be less challenging. More challenging, foot is vertical. Up to you, doesn't matter. And then feel free to stay sitting tall. If you're feeling plenty of stretch in your hips with any of these leg variations, you can stay sitting tall. Or if you want, go ahead and lean a little forward and you'll feel that the stretch intensifies. Another way to think about intensifying the stretch is to think about where your tailbone is and try and stick it out behind you and even try and stick it up towards the ceiling. So that untucking of the pelvis or that tilt of the pelvis of trying to stick your tailbone back behind you or up towards the ceiling will give you even more stretch in that hip. Go ahead and sit back tall if you're leaning forward, undo the legs, shake them off, and we'll go to the second side. So crossing the ankle over the other ankle and let the knee open out to the side. So that's one option. Another option would be to prop your foot up onto something. So if you have a block or a low stool, you're going to try and keep that rotation, but you have a little support. Or you can cross your ankle over your thigh. Thinking about that bottom leg, less intense, creating kind of an angle with that bottom leg. More intense, the foot is directly under the knee. Pausing for a moment, whatever position you're in, to just feel whatever you're feeling. And then decide, do you want to stay sitting tall or do you want to lean a little forward? So it's up to you. Find what torso position works for you. You might also think about that pelvis. So just like we did on the other side, you might think about tilting that pelvis forward so that the tail is trying to reach towards the wall behind you or up towards the ceiling. And that will give you a little more stretch. All right, and then sitting tall again, undo those legs, shake them off. And then adjust yourself in your seat so you're really comfortable. So you might decide to lean back in your chair here, or you can stay forward and sit tall for our closing meditation. So find whatever position you want to be in. Close the eyes or soften your gaze to the ground, so you don't have to close the eyes. And take a few moments to check in with the body, noticing how the body is feeling, the physical body. Checking in with your emotions. What feelings are present now? There is no right or wrong. And checking in with those thoughts. Where are you mentally right now? And wherever you are, turn your attention to your breathing, observing, following the natural rise and fall of the breath. And then bringing your palms to touch in front of your heart. And check in with that intention if you set one at the start of class. Without judgment, you're just checking in. And then take a moment to thank yourself for taking the time to take care of your mind and your body. And thank yourself for showing up for yourself and for everyone else here. This class is not possible without you. Take a deep inhale. and let it go. Namaste. Thank you everyone so much. It was so great to move with you today, as always. Let me give you the move of the week before I open it up for questions. So our move of the week is upside down L or chair dog. I'll show it to you again just in case. So we did that twice today. That's where you have your hands on a support. So counter is a great place to do this, in the kitchen, on your table, on a chair. You walk yourself back into an L. So that's the move of the week. I want to try and see if you can do that a couple of times between now and our next Wednesday yoga. So upside down L or chair dog is the move of the week. Let me write that down. I recommend you write it down too. Otherwise we forget. And now let's open it up. So if anyone has any questions about class, now is your time to ask. If you have questions about GoGo, the best thing to do is email GoGo directly because I usually don't know the answer.
Can you repeat what you just wrote down? I didn't hear.
Yes, so the move of the week is either, you can write down either of these things, chair dog or upside down L.
Okay.
So whatever makes it so that you can remember that position.
Okay. I missed a couple of times with a vicious virus.
Oh no, I'm
So-
sorry, but you're sounding okay now. Are you feeling better?
Well, I noticed the difference. I can't get that.
So if anyone does have questions, you can just unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat. We have about 10 minutes, so plenty of time if you have something you want to ask. You're also welcome to just pop off and leave. Totally fine.
Adra, this is Carol. Do you realize you had more than 60 people today at one point?
More than 60. Okay, when we started class, it was about 50. So that's exciting. That's a lot of us.
Like 62, I think, was the highest. I kept looking at it.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, Carol. That's so cool.
You've never had that many before.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think we have ever had that many in a class. So awesome. Thanks for being here, everyone.
I think it's Anne. How much stretching per day do you recommend?
Oh, I just want to know who said that. I missed.
Anne. I'm sorry. Anne
No.
from New Jersey.
Anne from New Jersey. I'm just scrolling through the screen so I can see you.
I know. I didn't put my picture up.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why
I
you
see where the
can't
voice is. It's that purple dark screen. Okay. Anne, how much stretching should you do every day? I think a little bit of stretching every day. So if you could set aside, if it were up to me, if you set aside 30 minutes every day to do some stretching, that would be awesome. But if you don't have time for that, or if that feels daunting, 5 minutes a day would be, I would say, wonderful and great. If you want, we do have a YouTube channel, and V will put it in the chat for us. You can go to our YouTube, and there are lots of chair yoga classes. So you could watch a part of the class or the whole class if you need inspiration for some other stretches.
Great. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Question about breathing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, do you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
good. My question is, when I'm leaning against the chair, do you recommend strong inhale, exhale, or do you recommend light inhale, exhale? What do you recommend?
You said when you're leaning against the chair, I don't, can
Right.
you clarify?
When you're doing that L-shaped leaning again, I don't know what you call that.
Oh,
leaning.
this one? Is that what you're talking about or no?
Yes, that's what I was referring to, right. So the question is, do you recommend deep breathing or do you recommend light breathing while you're leaning on the chair?
Deep breathing, but it doesn't need to be forceful. So I want it to be nice long inhales, nice long exhales. So maybe it's 4 or 5 seconds in, 4 or 5 seconds out. And the reasoning is we really want to, when we're in that stretched position, we want to let those ribs really move when we're breathing.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome, John. Okay, we've got a few things here in the chat. So we've got, I believe Judith. Oh yes, you were here, I think last week. Thank you for recognizing that all of us have different degrees of flexibility. This was your first session for yoga. Great to have such a large following. And you'll make a point of coming. Yes, and you just lost your husband. I'm so sorry. But I'm so glad that you are here moving with us and that you're back and here with the community. Thank you, Judith. Let me read just one other thing, what someone else said. And then if people have comments about what people have said, or if they have other comments, totally fine to chime in. So hi, everyone. This is Irma from St. Louis. First time on the line. This is an excellent exercise. Hope to join you next week. Thank you. Thank you, Irma.
This is Francis from New Jersey.
Hi, Francis.
I actually did last time's movement of the week, though I didn't realize it had a title, but it's very good. I respond now. This week's is difficult for me to end up as flat as you.
Mm-hmm.
I tried today. I think I made a little progress by just walking backward a little further. But is there any special trick to attaining that board-like flatness, right?
Great question, Francis. So it can take a long time to get there because the thing about that upside down L or chair dog is that there are a lot of different pieces that need flexibility. That's why it's such a great pose, and it's also so challenging. So sometimes the challenge is that we can't get our arms stretched up overhead. So sometimes that's the challenge. So it's the goal is to just move to wherever you can, as far as you can for the arms. If the challenge is the back of the legs, then I suggest you let yourself come to that board-like position, but your knees are going to be bent instead of straight. So it's playing around with going as far as you can. So maybe you're here, maybe you're here, maybe you're here. As far as you can without causing pain. The other thing you can play with is the height of where your hands are. So let's see. We'll just imagine that I'm on a taller surface here, right? And then I can create a different kind of upside down L with my hands on a taller surface, and it might feel a little more accessible. So that's another way to play with it, is we're playing with it with a chair. Maybe you play with it on your counter, or maybe you have like, here my fireplace is, oh boy, place is a little bit of a mess, so. Fire here, and so you could create sort of a V-like position. I know you can't see my whole body, but it would be more like that. So there is no trick. It is practice, practice, practice. Play with different heights.
Maybe I'll get to Carnegie Hall that way too. Thank you. I think that will help. I feel it very much in the back of my legs, which I guess from what you're saying is good news.
Yes.
And I will try to play around with a little bit to accomplish what we want to accomplish. Thank you.
And it's not always about the end position. It's that you're getting a stretch wherever you are. So as long as you're feeling a stretch, then excellent. I'm happy. You're getting a stretch wherever you are. It doesn't matter how deep you are, or if it looks the way that mine looks.
Thank you.
And thank you, Becky. I see your message in my chat. Any last questions?
Adra, I was just going to ask, we're not as young as you are. We're not as flexible as you are. So we can't expect us to do it the way you do. We just have to do what we can.
Exactly. That is so fair. That is absolutely fair. I'm younger and more flexible. I also do this multiple times a day. And I've been doing this basically my entire life. So if let's imagine if you did this 3 times a day, every day from the start, more flexibility. But absolutely, we're all at different places. And all of our anatomy is also different, right? Some hips are tighter than others, some shoulders are tighter just because of your anatomy that you were born with.
And some bellies are bigger than others.
Yeah. All right. I will let everyone go. So wonderful to have you as always. Hopefully I see you on Friday, and if not, see you next Wednesday or sometime next week. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.